My friend at the time, her name was Carly, and she used to go to this one pet store where they had a lot of great stuff. They always had deals on stuff, and she owned two dogs at the time of this story. This took place sometime during the global pandemic, where Carly ended up having to do what she could just to get by every day with the lockdown inactive. However, during this time though, something really creepy did happen to her. Now, to make it a long story short, she was working the evening shift when she ends up seeing a really weird customer. Now, this customer comes in and he starts looking around, and it was just a half an hour before they closed. At first, Carly was kind of confused, wondering if this man had a pet, and he was just staring at anything that he could look at. He was staring at the dog toys. At first, she wondered if he was just getting something for his dog, but he just continued to stare. He didn't even acknowledge that Carly welcomed him, and he just stared completely out of the blue. Now, he just stared there until Carly interrupted and asked, "Do you need something?" As soon as she said that, he turns around and looks at her. He basically said he was looking for dog food. Carly pointed at the aisle where the dog food would be located at, and that's when he ends up going over there to the dog food and selected the dog food that he wanted. As soon as he selected the dog food that he wanted, he ended up paying for it and ended up walking off. However, Carly thought that was the end of it, but boy was she wrong. It was just at least in 5 minutes when she was closing up the shop, when she saw that same guy again, and this time he was staring at her through the window of the pet store. At first she was confused as to why this man was doing that, but he seemed to be staring at her, and he started looking at her for really inappropriately. She was concerned if she should go up and see that guy, but of course she had locked the doors, and this guy started banging and screaming to let him in. Now she calls the cops, and she was concerned, thinking that this man was going to break down the door. Eventually he managed to break through the glass, and that's when she gets really scared, thinking that this man was going to break in and do God knows what to her. As soon as the police arrived, they arrested the man, and it turns out this man had a habit of breaking into people's houses. He has been doing that for a while, and this was definitely something she didn't even know. This man had a history in breaking in pet doors whenever he gets something. He just was arrested, and Carly hopes that he never comes out or returns to the pet store. She still goes to the pet store to this day, and she still works there, but nothing like this has ever happened since, and she wonders to this day what could have happened to her if she didn't call the police. She does not even want to know. I used to know someone at school that used to work at PetSmart. This happened to them at the time of this story, and for privacy's sakes, I'm going to keep them anonymous. Now, I'm going to call his name by Riley. Now, Riley used to work at PetSmart, and the mainly reason why he worked there was so he can get enough money so he can save up for college. At the time of the story, Riley was around maybe in his senior year of high school. As he was in his senior year of high school, he got a job at the PetSmart so he can save up money for college. Now, as he was was pretty much walking down the aisles and putting things back that some people have misplaced and stuff, when he all of a sudden looked up to see that there was this this boy, and he apparently was what assumed to be his dad. Now, he smiled at the boy, but the boy did not smile, and immediately he could tell that something was definitely wrong. He asked the boy if he was okay, and that got the attention of what appeared to be his father. He said, "Oh, he's fine." And that was that. It obviously really kind of concerned Riley, as he didn't even know why this man said otherwise. He decided that maybe that this area wasn't for him, but why would he be at the pet store? It obviously got a little concerning, knowing that this boy was not happy. Now this man had said to the boy to wait for him while he goes to the bathroom. As he leaves, that's when he ends up going over. Riley talked to the boy and asked if he was okay, and he said that the man apparently is not his dad and apparently was kidnapped. That's when they alerted the manager, and the manager kept the boy with them. Now, by the time his so-called kidnapper arrived, he asked him where was the boy? And of course, that's when Riley stood up saying that he kidnapped him. The police eventually arrested the guy, and as it turns out, he had a history of kidnapping kids, and he had been doing this for at least 4 years. How was he not caught during this time was beyond on Riley. He didn't even know what this man was going to do, but apparently he probably had some plans that really unsettled him. Nothing like that has ever happened, but it happens sometimes in a pet store, but nothing freaky like that has ever happened since, and Riley hopes it stays that way. My friend Anthony at the time used to go to this one pet store that happened to be in town. Now, nothing creepy has ever happened to him or anything unnerving, but this story made him feel otherwise. Now, Anthony was told by his mom to go to the pet store that was only maybe a few minute walk from his place. Of course, they were out of dog food, so that's when Anthony walks over. As Anthony walks over, he ends up getting to the pet store and looks for the food that he wants. As he was looking for the food he wants, he ends up seeing that there's this man. Now, this man looked like he was in his early 50s, and he walks over to him. Confused, he asks, can you help me in the bathroom? The lights are out." As soon as he said that, Anthony was confused. Why would the lights be out? Why don't you ask an employee? That's what Anthony said, and this man persuaded him to come with him. Anthony said no, and this man ends up walking away like nothing has happened. But Anthony ends up alerting the people at the pet store about this encounter, and that's when they eventually called the police. However, by the time the police arrived, the man was already gone, and they searched through the entire pet store, but they found no trace of him. Why would he be saying that the bathroom lights are not working to Anthony when he could have just asked the employee? That really creeps Anthony out. This man was probably thinking of luring him into a trap or to do God knows what, rob him, kidnap him, or whatever his plans were. This man eventually came in the pet store a few times, doing this to other people, but however, nothing like that has ever happened, and they never saw that man again.